In this edition of Proven to Work, discouraging pupils from seeking help from the teacher. We'll be seeing how, by using independent groups in class, responsibility for learning can be handed over to the pupils, while aiding assessment for learning. And we'll be hearing from a top expert in education research who'll tell us why it's proven to work. This Year 9 maths class has been split into mixed ability groups and given a number of challenging maths problems, which involve turning data into simultaneous equations. They've been told not to bother the teacher unless they're absolutely stuck.
What I'm going to do is I'm going to give you 3 lives, okay? So I'm going to come round, and if I answer a question for you, I'm going to put my signature on your piece of paper to say if you've taken one of your lives. The idea is that you think a little bit more about what questions you want to actually ask me. Remember, 3 lives. I think the students nowadays have become very dependent on the teacher, and really what I want to do is I want them to think a little bit more independently and not put their hand up straight away. Had I have given them the task without putting that restriction on, guaranteed 2/3 of them would have had their hand up within the first 5 minutes, and this has really made them think a little bit more about what they want to ask as well. So we want twice Wendy. How are we going to write that?
W squared. W
Twice W is W squared? I think that children don't understand fully when it's led fully by a teacher. I think then they're just learning it parrot fashion. Is it?
3 plus 3.
Well done, you've got it now, haven't you? That is for another line. Okay. When students are actually talking to each other, they actually explain it much better to one another, and it makes them think a little bit more about their learning when they're actually trying to teach it to somebody else as well. So that's one big advantage for actually putting them into groups.
Every group except one soon loses a lifeline. The approach means the teacher can assess where pupils are facing difficulty and can bring them together to address a common mistake or misunderstanding.
Put your hand up if twice Roger's age is 2R. Okay, put your hand up if it's R squared. A brave man. Okay, it's actually not. The first group of people, the majority of you were correct, it's 2R. When you're
this same approach could be used in other lessons and by adapting the challenges for other key stages. Observing this lesson is Philippa Cordingley, Director of the Centre for the Use of Research and Evidence in Education.
The thing that the research tells us is that it's really important to hand over control and responsibility to young people, and you know, what this teacher's done is quite a creative way of doing that, by giving them lives, making it feel like a game, making it obvious they're in control, but putting them in the position of making choices about it. And I think that was really smart.
How else can we write this so that we can solve this problem?
The risk with that, the research would say, is that she might not get a window into people struggling as it's going on, but in fact that has been the case. And so where they really are calling for help, it's because they really need help, and because she's set them very challenging tasks. When she gets called into the real issues, and when she's found a couple of groups struggling with the same thing, she can call the class together and deal with a common misconception. So very strategic use of that as a strategy, and then really strategic follow-up of it in terms of where's a problem big enough to pause everybody's individual learning. So that's very smart.
For more information on using independent group work and the research connected with it, go to the Teachers TV website.